Starting a successful business sounds pretty tough. You probably think you have to be an adult to do it. But you're about to meet a 14-year-old girl who's not only had a business for years, but it's become so successful she's even written a book about it. Here's Samara to explain how she got into the fairy business.
My name is Samara Wilborn and my passion is making fairy houses. I've been making them for about 3 years now, and it all started with helping out in my community and helping the Sippy Creek Animal Refuge raise money so they could keep their animals alive. So I decided that I would make fairy houses and sell them at my school to raise money. And I did that with my friends and we ended up raising over $400 for them. By now I've probably made probably about maybe 2,000. Most of them are sitting in the cupboards at my house, pulling out of the cupboards every time I open the cupboard door, or like in little display cabinets around the house, things like that. I've now turned it into a business called Enchanted Fairy Houses. I've hosted workshops on how to make them, held little parties for kids, and I've even published my own book. Lots of people were asking me, oh, how do you make these fairy houses? Can we take photos? And so eventually Mum just said to me, well, if so many people want to know how to make this, why don't you just put it all into a book? And that's what I did. It actually turns out that it was the only book in the world that teaches kids how to make fairy houses. I also like to give back to my community a lot too. In the school holidays, I do free fairy house workshops, teaching kids how to make fairy houses at libraries. And I also give 10% of my book royalties to the Children's Hospital Foundations Australia. At the moment, I am living in Bali in Indonesia with my parents. This is my dad, Adrian.
Hello.
And my mum and our cat, Garderon. Well, we'll be living here for 2 years while my mum volunteers for a local organisation. So in my spare time, I've been teaching kids how to make fairy homes. I have 3 kits, so 3 people can make them. So we have our glue, we put some glue onto this. For many of the kids, it's the first time they've ever made something like this before. If starting your own business is something you'd like to do, here are my tips. So number 1, you have to have a good unique idea that people will like. Number 2 is that people have to know about your business, and the way that I used to do this was write newspaper stories or write little stories and send them to the newspaper, and they would put them in the newspaper for free. So that would be a good way for me to market my business. And number 3 is that you have to know how much your business is actually making. And to do this, you have to take the material costs and take them away from how much you actually made from selling your items. And this is called doing a profit and loss sheet. When I'm back in Australia, I'd like to start a fairy house festival. People could get dressed up as fairies and make fairy houses in the botanical gardens. If you have a dream, don't give up on it. If it's not working out, just keep going and you'll get there eventually. Having my own business is pretty cool and I'm proud of what I have achieved.